tomorrow is actually the first National Truth and Reconciliation Day in Burlington. What does the city have planned?
Well, actually, our urban Indigenous peoples of Burlington. So it's a new group of residents right here in Burlington, urban Indigenous as they call themselves. So living here in our community, but Indigenous background. They have put together a program and we've supported it. So I have to give credit to the community for leading this initiative, which has been awesome. So they are planning a series of events at Spencer Smith Park tomorrow, starting at noon. And what you'll see at noon is information tables from several agencies, and then the programming actually doesn't start until 3:30. There will be a walk from Spencer Smith Park to Civic Square. There will be a ceremony there, and a number of other things happening to mark the occasion. And that's all been, all that programming is led and designed by Indigenous residents in Burlington, but they are inviting the community to attend. Of course, I'll be there on behalf of the city as well, and really looking forward to that. And if you have an orange shirt, please do wear it.
Awesome. Cool. Do you know what's open and closed? Because I know in some cities, certain things are open, and some cities, certain things are closed. So what's open in Burlington?
It's a great question. So essential and regular services will continue. So transit and roads and parks and a number of those things will continue. The city of Burlington does have a press release that will detail. If you have any specific questions, go to burlington.ca, or there's still time to call the city, 335-7777 or city@burlington.ca. But City Hall is closed, and we made the decision. So all federal employees and offices are closed, or federally regulated industries. So that includes things like banks. So all of that is closed tomorrow. The province elected not to make it a holiday for all workers in the province, but a number of municipalities, I know Mississauga did as well. Yep. We have chosen to close City Hall and give those staff who aren't working, and many will continue to be, an opportunity to use that time for reflection and learning, and certainly hope that they will participate in the event at Spencer Smith, or if there's something going on in their communities to do that. But there's online activities. There's a course you can take from the University of Alberta. There are a number of books. I've shown you some of those in the past. A really good one that was recommended to me is called The Inconvenient Indian. I recommend that. 21 Things You Didn't Know About the Indian Act. I'm reading that right now. It's hair-raising and heartbreaking and horrible part of our history that we have to confront and face. And it really set Indigenous people in our country up for failure for generations, and we're still feeling the effects of that. And while some parts of the legislation have changed over the years, one of the big calls from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission is to eliminate or completely overhaul the problematic elements that are there. So that is still work to be done at the federal level. We, of course, will be lighting the pier orange, as we have a number of times this month. We declared the whole month in favor of truth and reconciliation, the month of September. So we have the flag flying for the entire month. The Every Child Matters flag is flying. And so we've taken a number of visible and tangible steps to acknowledge and work with Indigenous residents in our community to learn and to mark this occasion. And it doesn't stop there, but this is a moment in time where we can devote time to reflection and reading and learning and committing to doing better and taking action.
Are you hoping, I know you're going to be around to all of or most of the events tomorrow. Are you hoping that a lot of the city employees do the same?
I invite everyone to come, yes. And now some folks may choose to learn in their home. There's reading, there's online courses, and that's okay too. That's totally fine, but just use the time that you have tomorrow. I encourage everyone to use the time that they have in reflection and reading. And one of the options, of course, is joining the community in this event. But do something. And even if you still have to work in your place of work, if you get a break, if you get a lunch hour, take some time to reflect and learn. And if you can't do it tomorrow, find some other time, because it's important for all of us to do that.
Awesome. Let's get to the vaccination certificate. Has there been any infractions from a customer point of view or a restaurant point of view?
We have had 3 incidents to date, based on the most recent briefing that I got in our city facilities, but fairly, fairly mild, and they were able to be handled. So, I'm grateful for that, and that's hundreds of people coming through our facilities and needing to now show proof that they have been vaccinated in certain settings. It doesn't apply to City Hall, it doesn't apply to libraries, but it does apply to recreation centers and so forth. So
Yeah.
people have been willing to do their part, and I'm so grateful that they have. Halton region as a whole is just a little bit above the provincial average for vaccinations, and Burlington is #2 right behind Milton. So we're doing well, and I credit our residents for making the choice to keep themselves and members of their community healthy and safe and get vaccinated where they can. And there are exemptions; they are very limited, and so we've provided for those. If you have a medical exemption, that will be honored, of course, and respected. And the other thing that I will note is, and you may have heard of this already too, Khaled, the Ontario Human Rights Commission did weigh in on this issue and said that with respect to both masks and the requirement to show proof of vaccines, that an individual preference not to do that was not a ground protected under the charter and was not a human rights violation. So there was no protection in human rights for that. So, so you can make your choice, and there will be consequences as a result of that.
Have you been out, Mayor? Have
I
you been out?
have.
Have you been to restaurants
I
and
have. Yeah.
with that ID? Doesn't it make you
I
feel young again? Like, you show your ID. Well, I mean, it's like, hey, here's my ID. But then
Yes,
I
I'm
realized,
just
like,
over 18,
yeah,
and by the way, I've been vaccinated. Yeah,
yeah.
I carry it on my phone. I mean, you know what? People, if people have followed my Instagram, they already know that I've, because they essentially saw me getting it, and they know the dates and all of that. But yes, I have it on my phone, like most of us do. And but I've been enjoying the patio still, so I haven't had to show it. I haven't been asked because it's not a requirement for patios. I will wrestle every ounce of sunlight patio in a season that I can. So I will always choose that if the weather's nice. But ready to show it when winter comes and continue.
Okay, so you haven't been inside yet then. I was gonna ask.
Well, not since I've been inside a restaurant, but not since the policy came into effect, because when I've gone out, we've chosen the patio. Yeah. So I haven't had to show it yet. And I
Well,
don't go out all that often, as you know, because I'm, busy being the mayor. So
I was gonna
I
ask. I'm
need,
like, I'm
I
sure.
need to get a life.
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you if they would ask you for ID, knowing that you're the mayor. Like, here's a receipt. But anyways, but you haven't been in, so it doesn't matter. Okay.
I haven't yet, but I'm ready with it on my phone. All my whole family has it, so
So,
we.
well, let me ask you: Have you talked to the businesses? Have you talked to the restaurants? What are they saying?
I've gotten no complaints
Okay.
yet, other than there's considerable concern when this was first announced, because they recognized that their hostess or host at the beginning of at the door would be the one tasked with asking for ID. And so there's a lot of concern about whether, our frontline staff, let's face it, our retail workers, our grocery store workers, our restaurant workers, they have been subjected, unfortunately, to a very small minority of the population who have taken their frustrations out on those people who have been harassing and abusive. Some of the stories that I've heard are just offensive and appalling. And so I continue to say, be kind. These folks didn't make the rules, but they have to abide by them. So, so there was a lot of concern about that. There was concern
Yeah.
about what do they do if somebody refuses to show it, and then there's an altercation. And at the end of the day, all businesses are privately owned, private property. And if you are not going to follow the rules, they can call the police under Trespass Act. So let's not go there. Let's not do that. You know, make your decision about whether or not you are going to be vaccinated, and accept the consequences that come from that decision. That there will be things that are restricted to you because public health and the health of everybody in our community is task number one. And we need look no further than what has happened in Alberta. We don't want a lockdown. We don't want our ICUs overflowing. We don't want to have to cancel surgeries and scheduled procedures that keep people alive and healthy. And we've already seen some of the negative impacts of those delayed procedures due to previous surges in hospital capacity. We don't want to go there again. And so vaccine proof and policy is one of the best tools we have to ensure that we can stay open, that our hospitals can stay functioning, that everyone in our community can get the health care that they need and deserve. And masks are a very important piece of that as well. And so those two, the physical distancing from folks that you are not in a household bubble with, then, you know, these are the measures that we need to follow to protect the health and safety of all of us. And if that's not something you wish to do, then you need to accept that there are consequences as a result of that choice, and have the courage to accept those consequences.
Sure. I'm 22 to 25% tip now because I feel like they're doing a great job. So how about you?
Good for you. Yeah, I'm in that range. Yeah.
All right. Okay. 22 to 25. You know, some machines don't even have that option. You have to punch it in. So
20 usually shows up. Sometimes 25. Yeah. So if you were in between that, you'd have to
punch it in manually.
Punch it in. Yeah. So
I was talking to Mayor Crombie from Mississauga. She says that you're hosting a mayor's meeting next week. Is that public? Well, she said it yesterday, so I mean, honestly.
Yeah, we are. It's not next week. It's coming in October.
Okay.
So yeah, but coming soon. So yeah, the Ontario Big City Mayors Caucus, of which I am one of 29 members, and Bonnie, of course, is the vice chair. We work very well together. I have high regard for Bonnie, and happy to work side by side with her on the OBCM. And Jeff Lehman is from Barrie. The mayor of Barrie is our chair this year. So we've been discussing for some months about the desire to come back to in-person meetings. And so I put up my hand and said, well, we'll take you. Come on to Burlington. We want to showcase our city and welcome the first OBCM post-lockdown meeting of the mayors. And so we have about 19 of the 29 who have confirmed to come, which is great. We knew that there would probably be some, you know, from Sudbury or Thunder Bay that might not be able to make the drive, but we will have a virtual option so that everyone can participate. So we're having a special speaker one night, and then we're doing our business. And then I've organized with my Halton regional colleagues, as well as the mayors, to do a tour of our GO stations, because we know that's where the major growth in the future of the city is going to be going. And we're really ahead of the curve on some of this. This is provincial policy, of course, but we are embracing that that's where our growth should be. It protects stable neighborhoods, protects our downtown, and accommodates for new residents who want to live here. So it's going to be a whole day and a half of activities, and we're really looking forward to it.
Nice. She was pretty excited to see everybody. What do you hope to accomplish, like, with all these mayors? Like, are you going to go to Ottawa with a letter, or province? Like, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, we always have advocacy as a big part of what we do, and we've been very effective in our advocacy. That we learned that even before the pandemic, when the province was initially recommending in-year cuts to public health. If you can cast your mind back to that and just, wow, you know, imagine if that had gone through. That was 2019. And the mayors said, don't touch public health, number one, and don't cut transfer payments in the middle of a year when most of us have already completed our budgets. So So don't do that. And they decide, they heard us, which is great. And, you know, the 29 mayors represent about 70 to 75% of all of Ontario's population. So we have a huge constituency that we speak on behalf of. And I think that's been the strength. And when we can be unanimous, and if we can't be unanimous, we pick those things where all the mayors agree. It's nonpartisan. It is across all party, you know, there are mayors from who've been parts of different political parties that are part of us. We put that aside and we look at what are the issues that our cities collectively are facing. What are the advocacy pieces that we need to focus on? So we were doing that before the pandemic. We are doing that throughout the pandemic. The Safe Restart funding is just one, for example. We advocated very strongly for that and did get that for all of our municipalities. So there's been a number of policies that we've advocated for that the province has listened to us and delivered. And we will continue to do that because we have obviously a very strong and relationship with the province. They're the closest to us in terms of setting the rules and some of the funding that we need to do our work. And so after every meeting, we've come out with some statement around what we've been working on, as well as our advocacy to the provinces. So Truth and Reconciliation has been a part of that. Affordable housing has been a part of that. It's all online. It's all public. If you go to OBCM's website, if you just Google it, you'll find it. You'll find all the minutes, all the resolutions, all the press releases from our meetings. We've been very busy, and one of the things that we are starting to do is develop policy papers, because we want to work with the province and be a partner in some of the issues that we face. And so we've struck subcommittees to tackle some of the key issues. The first subcommittee we struck was on mental health and the connection to housing. I was the co-chair of that, and we pioneered the first policy paper that was developed ever by the OBCM and sent it to the province. And there's a number of action items and requests. We just signed off on an addictions paper. So that's another one. And we've got more that we're working on. So we are really attempting to not just be the voice saying we need this or we need that or this has to change, but we want to be part of the solution. And here's some ideas from our 29 different municipalities and all of the incredible wisdom that is there with all our staff and our community members and the mayors coming together to say, this is our collective thinking and wisdom, and this is from our communities that represent, as I've said, 3/4 of our population. So it's mining that wisdom that's there and being a partner and a participant with the province in these really difficult issues. It's a long answer, but I feel very passionately about it. So thank you for letting me
no
give
problem.
you the full picture there.
Yeah, and I think Bonnie said it best yesterday. She said, you guys are the choir and you're singing your demands to the province. I think
That's a lovely metaphor. Yes. I hope we sound like a singing choir, not a clanging bell when we make
either way will work.
All in harmony and all of that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll change gears a little bit. Kids 5 to 11 are going to be able to get vaccinated by the end of the year, early 22. Does Burlington have a plan for this vaccination process? Are they going to do it in schools? Are they going to do it in vaccination centers? Have you guys thought of that?
Yeah, our public health is working on this. They haven't sort of revealed what the logistics will be just yet. They are working on that, and you know, I have complete confidence in our public health to do that rollout because, as I said, we are ahead of the province right now in the average number of people vaccinated, and Burlington itself is number 2 out of the 4 municipalities. So, you know, really, you know, when you see the seamless nature, I participated through the Halton process, got registered, got vaccinated. It was it was very easy and seamless. So that's been our experience, and you know, they'll simply carry that learning and that really good process forward for the kids.
Awesome. You can tell that some questions are from viewers, some questions are from our journalists. This one's definitely from a journalist from our team. The city, because the city is preparing to implement a lobbyist registry. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? When will this program be launched? Can we explain what implications are and how it differs from current lobbying practices?
That's a great question. So I would invite your journalist and the public to read the report that is coming to committee next week. So this has been a long-term process where we ask staff to bring back something, and so that is in, all the details are in the report. But long story short, we as a council have said we need some way of publicly tracking who we're meeting with. Okay. That is a lobbyist. And in the past, when this conversation has come up, lobbying had a very restrictive definition. It was, you know, somebody who was a registered lobbyist. And there are those folks in bigger municipalities, they register as a lobbyist and there's a whole process. And we haven't seen that, but we still get lobbied, and we get lobbied mostly by business or development interests, where they have the potential for a financial gain or loss based on a decision of council. And so, you know, we felt that those business meetings should be noted and should be disclosed to the public. It is voluntary at this point, but I know there will be unanimous uptake from council members, and we'll make sure that when we are meeting with somebody who meets our definition, and the definition is, you know, somebody that wants to influence a decision of council and they have a monetary interest in it. That's our definition, so it's broader than being a registered lobbyist. We consider that activity to be lobbying, and those meetings will be recorded. We'll have a database where people can search, you know, who's the mayor been meeting with and who are the councillors meeting with, and see that all as a point of public transparency. Now, having said that, I do a weekly update where I tell people who I'm meeting with already. And I've been doing that for months. So if anyone wants to know what I'm up to, please check my feeds or my website, the Mayor's Update. Every single Monday we put that out, and you can see the media I've done, you can see the meetings, you can see what's coming up at City Hall, opportunities for community. So it's much broader than lobbying, but certainly any of those meetings that we know about when it's posted, we record there as well. So you kind of get two chances to know what I'm up to. But long story short, that's what the lobbyist registry in Burlington will be.
Do you know
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In 2023, we will come back and reevaluate. So that's the next term of council. And there is an option to make it more formalized. And in that case, it would be obligatory. There'd be a whole additional process around it. But we would need clerking support. So we would need to hire somebody for that. So we've taken this more sort of voluntary, gentler approach to see if that works before we, before we hire somebody just for that purpose.
Okay. Any other cities do that? Hamilton, Oakville, like do any other?
I know Toronto for sure does, and there was, off the top of my head, I can't tell you. I don't know if Oakville does. The region does not as a whole. I doubt the other municipalities, but our staff did do a scan of other municipalities, and that listing was in one of the first reports that we received. So that information is available in terms of, because they looked at what are other municipalities doing and what kind of process and setup they have. Is it voluntary? Is it legislated, et cetera? And there's a whole variety. So not as many as you think, I will say that, but for sure Toronto has one.
Okay. And here's a question from a viewer from Instagram Live. Part of LaSalle Park is listed on MLS. What's the story? Have you heard that?
It's probably somebody who lives beside LaSalle Park. There is a road called LaSalle Park Drive that has many houses on it. But no, the park is not for sale.
All right, just cutting and pasting here. Okay.
All right. Send me the listing and I will give you a more detailed response. But awesome. The park is not for sale, no.
Okay, here's another one from Instagram Live. When are you going to remove speed bumps on Fisher Avenue? They are not working.
So I would recommend that whoever wrote that question, please connect with city@burlington.ca. They will connect you with our transportation department. So when traffic calming measures are put in, like speed bumps or a new stop sign, or, there's a number of measures that our staff look at, they do a pre and a post review to determine whether the measures had the desired effect, which almost always is reducing speed. So they would look at when were they installed, what were the data before they were installed that warranted. So you have to meet certain criteria before you would even get these measures installed. And then did it do what it was supposed to do? So all of those questions our transportation department can answer for you, and they can tell you when it would next be up for review. And then it's really based on the data. And I know, you know, some folks might see somebody speeding and think that the measures aren't working, and yet if we go out and do a comprehensive study over a period of time, it shows that in fact speeding has been reduced. So you'll always have those outliers, but we would rely on the data that from the study, and that's even before we install measures as well. Are they needed? Has to meet certain criteria, and did they work? There's certain measurements for that. So our transportation department do track all of that. Okay. And like I said, city@burlington.ca can connect you with who you need to talk to on that.
Awesome. And I know this week the province is giving out grants of $100 million to the tourism sector that got hit obviously pretty hard over COVID-19. Let me ask you this tough question, okay? What one signature kind of event does Burlington have that would attract the most people from neighboring cities into it?
Well, we have two, Sound of Music and Ribfest.
Right, there you go.
Both award-winning, by the way. They've won Ontario awards. They've won very significant, prestigious, both of them different because they're different events. Ribfest, of course, is the largest event of its kind in the country. And just to give you an order of magnitude, Sound of Music over a 4-day period would attract upwards of 400,000+ people.
That's crazy. Wow.
And we know, and it's the only free festival in the country. So we have some very unique and large festivals happening right here in Burlington. Those are probably the two biggest. And they have started what they call a return to live program, and they are doing, you know, smaller events. You can check that out on the Sound of Music. I think it's soundofmusic.ca, but you can Google them and see all around town. And there's a lot of local support for local talent. And, you know, it's just been a great to start heading back to that, as they say, return to live music, which we all love and miss. And just on a side note, I was invited to a neighborhood block party on the weekend on Friday night up in the Millcroft neighborhood. And somebody knew somebody who knows Susie McNeil. So she was our live performing artist for this neighborhood block party. And oh my goodness, she is an incredible singer. If you've ever seen her on any of the shows that she was part of, you know, she can cover anything. She can do country and kids music and rock, and you know, she even did, you know, Harry Styles' Watermelon Sugar. I mean, it was like I was just in awe, and I'm standing on this block party with, you know, a bunch of other neighbors that live there, and you know, it was just awesome. And I remembered thinking, I've missed live music so badly, and you just really get a sense of the talent. And she's a Burlington resident, right? She's one of our own. She's a Burlington treasure. Her and her husband have go around, and he's this amazing musician as well. So it was just a treat. It was a treat to see them, and that was something supported by the city. So we have a community support fund where if you are doing a neighborhood block party, talk to the city. We'll help you with logistics and some costs, you know, around some defined things that we will fund. And we really like neighbors to get to know neighbors, and we love these little street parties and block parties. So anyway, that was a fun part of my weekend. Nice. I'm going back up there actually for pumpkin festival. They start early up there. They're doing a whole Halloween thing. So
awesome.
It's fun for me.
Awesome. Anything else you wanted to chat about? Is there anything that you want to discuss?
Well, there's people who are interested in where Burlington is going to grow for the future. We know that's going to be around our GO stations. So we are having public consultation throughout the month of October and just into November. So you can attend one of 4 sessions. So there's one for each of the 3 GO stations, and then there's one that talks about all 3 of the GO stations. And really, it's your opportunity to tell us how you think these should be planned. You know, the number of people that will be living there, it's like a complete community and, you know, a whole new neighborhood, and it needs, as you would expect, community facilities, parks, jobs, retail and services, as well as housing. So we're really looking forward to those consultations. They're all virtual, and the details are on the City of Burlington webpage, or you can call my office.
Awesome. I realized you said pumpkins, and I'm like, wow, we're going to be in October in literally 36 hours.
2
Crazy.
days. Yes.
Anyways.
We can talk about Halloween next time.
Mayor, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Always good to chat.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.